What up, H-Town? Hey, how we doing?
He's Blank. I'm Branham. It is Brian behind the glass. It's a Wednesday edition of the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5, ESPN 92.5. Final from Minute Maid Park. Astros fall 5-2, swept in the wild card series. The Astros season is over. 713-780-ESPN. Voice your frustrations for the series, for the year, what you saw from the Astros all year. We're here until 6 o'clock. We'll be Astros the whole way. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear your frustrations. What went wrong today? What went wrong in this series? What went wrong this season? What is in store for the Astros going forward? Is this the end of the golden era? Has A.J. Hinch been the guy that has closed the book on the golden era? 713-780-ESPN, 713-780-3776, the HRP listener line. We'll start with today's game, Blankers. Fall 5-2. You got a really good pitching early, both sides. First run of the game didn't come into the sixth inning when Hunter Brown got touched up by a home run. Parker Meadows going all in on a fastball, yanking it off the right field foul pole. Astros got tons of bad memories with that right field foul pole. You rally, you score a couple of runs in the seventh inning. Maybe you didn't get enough, but you took the lead for a moment, only for it to all implode in the eighth inning with a combination of Ryan Presley, with a combination of Josh Hader, and the Tigers go on to win. How do you break down today's loss?
Well, I think it's filled with massive disappointments, and it starts with the offense overall. You knew that it was going to be a makeshift kind of cut and paste and glue A.J. Hinch pitching performance today in terms of who he was going to go to, and you had a guy that pitched his tail off in Hunter Brown. I thought Hunter Brown was outstanding. I thought he made one bad pitch, and it wasn't really that bad of a pitch. It's just that, you know, he threw a pitch that he thought he could get by, get up and get in enough to get by, and you got to tip your cap on the fact that he was able to hit the home run off of it. But overall, the offense was disappointing. The fact that you're facing all these different pitchers, I get it. But at the same time, your offense is too good to be shut down that way by someone not named Tarek Skubal. I mean, you had very little to work with. You weren't doing a whole hell of a lot. And then when it mattered most, whether you believe in it, you liked it, or you didn't like it, Pena going on that play, which I think we all were in agreement was something that was very, very risky, turns out to be a play where you think, okay, they finally kind of broke it open a little bit. They took a lead. This is exactly where you want to be with a bullpen that is exactly what was set up to be right here in this moment. And then the bullpen doesn't do its job, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, when the Astros signed Josh Hader, which, do you believe in giving big money to relief pitching, has been something that's been a talking point and a conversation on this show, because I don't think it's in the best interest of Major League Baseball teams to be spending big money on relief pitching, and it let you down. Whenever the Astros signed Josh Hader, the conversation was all a starter needs to do is get through 6 innings with a lead and the game is over. It has been anything but that all year long. Brian Abreu's been mostly good, but Brian Abreu was not as good this year as he was last year. Ryan Presley has gotten old and aged very, very fast. An incredibly mediocre year for Ryan Presley, and nowhere near the standard of what Ryan Presley was. And Josh Hader, compared to his standard, compared to what he is getting paid, has been a letdown. It has been a letdown in the first year of a massive 5-year contract. So the philosophy of 6 innings with a lead and the game is over, no, you can't trust this bullpen this year, which is a far cry from where we thought it was going to be. And the bullpen had the lead. You had the lead in the 8th inning. Should you have scored more runs? Yeah, we'll get to that. But you had the lead in the 8th inning. You gave up the lead, and now because of it, your season is over.
Yeah, it really sucks. And, you know, when we look at what we've seen all season long, we've had each of those 3 big relievers at the back end of the bullpen in somewhat of a crosshairs discussion. We've talked about the fact that as much as Hader has been able to get the saves, Hader through the eye test showed you that he had hiccups and he was getting hit and he was putting runners on base. Abreu did the same, and Presley was just awful down the stretch. And we were sitting here watching the game, the 3 of us, and the minute that they took the lead, I was wondering if this was a spot to even bring Presley into the game because of what we had seen. I don't care what his post-game record was leading up to this point in the season. In this season, we knew what we saw down the stretch. We knew Ryan Presley was less than. We knew that this was par for the course. Put runners on, give up some hits, do the things that he did yet again today. And you look at it and say, this was a situation where if Abreu had anything left in the tank, if you were left leaving it all, I almost would have gone to Abreu to see what he could have given you for another inning, simply because I did not trust Ryan Presley. And then after that, Hader just the bottom fell out.
Yeah, I don't disagree a ton. They just haven't done it all year. Like they all year long, it's been okay. Abreu, you're the 7th inning guy. Okay, Presley, you're the 8th inning guy. Okay, Hader, you're the 9th inning guy. And whenever we were talking about flip-flopping Abreu, like in July, people thought we were nuts. Oh, you can't do that to Ryan Presley. You can't have Abreu be higher leverage than Ryan Presley. What are these guys talking about? We said that Ryan Presley should be demoted, and the guy from the Houston Chronicle thought we were morons. So it's just been what they've shown all year. Now, if you you look at the 8th inning, the Astros have pre-designed roles. Like people look at a spot, oh, he's this analytical man. He's really not. AJ Hinch is analytical manager. Espada is not. Because if you're managing this game based on analytics, I don't think that Ryan Presley sees the 8th inning for 2 reasons. One, yeah, Brian Abreu pitched an inning and a third. Yeah, Brian Abreu was at 18 pitches. But who do you trust more against the top of the Detroit Tiger lineup? Because when Ryan Presley came into the game, it was Meadows, Carpenter, Verling. You had the top 3 for the Tigers batting, leading off that 8th inning. So who do you trust more against the top of the Tiger lineup? Is it Brian Abreu, even though he's thrown 18 pitches, or is it Ryan Presley? I think analytics might keep Ryan Abreu in the game.
Doubt.
Secondly, because you have Meadows, Carpenter, and Verling, the top 2 of those guys are lefties, does it make sense to have your closer come into the game in the 8th inning? Josh Hader, you go face lefty, righty. You go face 1, 2, 3. You're the better pitcher than Ryan Presley. The pre-designed roles tell us that. Maybe you go face 1, 2, 3. You pitch the 8th. We'll take the temperature on where you're at after the 8th inning. And if you're still good, you're still fresh, then you can pitch the 9th. If not, well, Ryan Presley can pitch against a lower pocket in the Detroit Tiger batting order. So it just hasn't been the way that Espada has managed. There was no way that he was changing today. Should he have? Yeah, probably should have.
There's no doubt in my mind he should have. And this is something that we've talked about, and you and I and Brian talked about this throughout the season, which was, as much as we didn't include Hader in the conversation because we just penciled him in as the closer, we talked about as we got closer to the playoffs, as we got closer to games that were going to have a higher importance level, that it didn't matter who was penciled in throughout the year for the 7th and the 8th. It was go to the guy at the right situation with the leverage situation facing you. And if that meant you were facing the top of the order, if that means you were facing some of the better hitters on the lineup, don't be afraid to go to Abreu first. Don't feel like you have to be locked in to go to Presley because it's the 8th inning. It was a tough situation. He did not look good at the end of the year with Presley. I didn't feel good about it because I hadn't felt good about him in a while, and it all blew up right in the face of everybody, and that's a tough way to end your season.
It just feels disappointing. In the biggest moment of the season, Joe Espada went total robotic manager. Just like, okay, this is the 8th inning, so I'm going to my 8th inning.
But he's always done it. He's always done it. I know. It wasn't turning the page into the postseason and it became that. He's done that all year.
I agree. I'm just saying that in the biggest moment, I had hoped for more because as you mentioned, the first 2 hitters in that inning were left-handed. But I mean, he also, the 4th hitter, Riley Green, also left-handed that Presley stayed in there to face. He faced 5 batters. Three of those first 5 were lefties. 3 of the first 4, in fact. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it cost him the season, but that was a moment where, okay, maybe Hader is your 9th inning guy, but you're about to face 3 out of 4 hitters that are not only the top of their lineup, but they're all left-handed. Put in your guy that you're paying $96 million, whatever it is, your left-handed specialist out of the bullpen, your hammer, and shut down that part of the game, and then go to Presley after that if Hader can't come back in the 9th.
Well, and let's also be honest in the fact that he's always been. There was a possibility that he could have given you more than 1 inning. Yeah, he pitched yesterday, and we talked about that. But at the same time, if he is truly that guy, if he's the guy that now is willing to go 2 innings, if you have any concerns about Presley too, then you would have considered how far you go with him. But definitely with all the lefties coming up, that's a situation that you have to think about, at least Josh Hader.
713-780-ESPN, HRP listener line, 713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HRP listener line. La Raza is in the hive with the bees. What's up?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Joe? How you doing? ¿Qué pedo,
¿Qué pasó, La Raza?
Gentlemen, how y'all doing? Jeremy, Joe. Look, hey, give a special shout out to Dr. Linville for working on my boy Joe. Love his hair all the time. But look, man, y'all are pooping on the Astros. I get it. Had a tough season. It was worse. But you got to think about the positives, all right? Nobody expected them to go this far, all right? To this moment in time, we had a lot of bad injuries. We were down 10 games. We were behind the Mariners. I mean, it was not even supposed to be them there at this moment. You had nothing there for them. A lot of injuries popped up during the season. And Joe Espada is a first-time manager. How did we come to this? Of course, we were not going to expect to go far, but just remember, this is the first time that this is going to happen. The dynasty, yes, is going to keep going. I think next year we're probably going to make a different changes. We got to let some people go, but I feel like this year, it was like the Texans surprise like last year. That's what I feel like, man.
I mean, La Raza, let's just be real. I mean, this team is too good, whether you see it on paper or just know what they were able to do, which nobody had been able to do in Major League Baseball, to say that no one had expectations about how far this team could go or that this team could go on a run. I think everybody felt like that. I think everybody felt like once this team made the postseason and the fact that they were able to do everything they did to overcome all the adversity in the regular season, that it was set up for a team that could get pretty far in the playoffs, and they had the pitching. They had a very formidable offensive lineup when you get Yordan back and Tucker back in the middle of it. I think it's the exact opposite. I think everybody is extremely disappointed and deflated because there were high expectations this team could do it again.
Yeah, it depends on when on the calendar you're talking about this. Because when the Astros were like 7-19, people started to doubt. When the Astros were 10 games back in the division, people were talking about trading and selling at the deadline. So it depends on when you were having this conversation. Once the Astros started to cut into the lead and then eventually overtake the Mariners, I think it was the expectations that you're going to make another playoff run because that's what the Astros have done. The Astros are not going to be in the ALCS for the first time since 2017. It's like an institution has been broken up. So once you overtook the Mariners or got close to the Mariners, I disagree with the expectations, La Raza. I think the expectations were another deep postseason run.
No, I get it, but remember, everybody, that's for my thing. But me, it was the pitching. Everybody was so okay, we were missing Garcia, we were missing Javier. Lance McCullers is that dude is just collecting HEB checks. I mean, these pitchers are out here just what is it called? Load managing this game, dude. That's all it was. We were missing so many pitchers, and then you have to go to be like Eric Getty and all these pitchers coming from Sugarland. Dude, I wasn't surprised at how far we went with our pitching.
Appreciate it, La Raza. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, thanks for the call, buddy. I just think it's tough to point the finger at the pitching when you got the performance that you got today. Yeah, Fromber wasn't on his A game yesterday, but overall, he still only gave up 3 runs. You were in that ball game. You have to start pointing the finger at the offense. You have to look at a team that, you can say, well, yesterday you were facing the Cy Young Award winner in the American League. That's fine, but at the same time, this is a team that is too good offensively, too loaded with quality players that you go and do what you did today and had to basically scrap and claw to get 2 runs late in the game just to take the lead. That's not the way this offense is supposed to work. Yeah,
you had lots of injuries with the pitching staff. There's no doubt about that. But you still had Fromber, Hunter Brown up top. You still had Yusei Kikuchi, who you made a big splurge for, who never pitched an inning in a postseason game. And then you had the big signing of Hader. You had big money Ryan Presley, and you had Brian Abreu, who's been one of the better relief pitchers in baseball the last 3 years. So you still had a really talented pitching staff despite the injuries. And if I was to blame one thing on why you lost the AL wildcard, it's the offense. I mean, it's the offense. You scored 1 run, yes, against the Cy Young, but if you're going to be a championship team, you got to figure out a way to beat that guy. And if you don't beat that guy, well, then you got to win the other 2 games of a series. And the Astros today scored 2 runs on 5 hits against, yes, a good bullpen, but against a bullpen day. The Tigers threw 7 guys today, and you probably have heard of none of them before the AL wildcard series. You've heard of none of the 7 pitchers before the AL wildcard, and the Tigers threw 7 of them today, and you were able to score 2 runs on 5 hits, and you had to have a lot of luck go your way to score those 2 runs in the 7th inning. You think offense is to blame.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you think about all season long, what did we talk about? When they faced some of the best pitchers in baseball, when they faced some of the most formidable odds against them because of who they were playing and who was pitching against them, they stepped up. They were able to beat those teams. Maybe you didn't beat Skubal, but you damn well, with your backs against the wall in a big situation with everything riding on the line, expected a whole hell of a lot more out of that offense.
713-780-ESPN. Full call board, but we'll cycle you in. Text messages are going nuts. 713-780-3776. Let us hear it. Will be your shoulder to cry on. What went wrong today? What went wrong this series? What went wrong this season? What does the future have in store? 713-780-3776. It is the Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5. Oktoberfest is back. Clear out your calendars, and maybe you did recently. Make plans for Saturday, Sunday, Oktoberfest on the Kima Boardwalk. German beer, that's always good to drown your tears in some German beer. German food, eat your feelings away. Live music, cornhole tournament, Stein holding competition, a costume contest, and much, much more. It's going to be a great time, fabulous time. Weather's going to be great Saturday and Sunday in Kima. It's free for you to walk around, free for you to attend. So head on out there either October 5th or October 6th or both. Beer tickets, beer steins, food tickets can be purchased right now online at KimaBoardwalk.com, or you can just walk up and purchase them at the event too. That's fine. The beer that you're going to be sampling, how about some New Belgium Fat Tire Ale? That sounds good. Yingling Oktoberfest, and much, much more. Get your souvenir steins right now at KimaBoardwalk.com. The food, Saturday and Sunday, to die for. Soft pretzel with some beer cheese, sausage on a stick, German potato salad, German beer bratwurst, schnitzel on a stick. It's going to be fantastic. So get out there Saturday. Live music will begin at 1 o'clock until 10, and then we'll do it all over again on Sunday. Live music noon till 9. Head to KimaBoardwalk.com right now. See the full schedule of events. See the concert lineup. It's going to be a great time Saturday and Sunday. Check out KimaBoardwalk.com for more information.
Live in the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Killer Bees. Now back to Joel and Jeremy.
Brian, I think Brian likes the sad shows. 713-780-ESPN. Astros season is over. Voice your frustration. 713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HR&P listener line. Matt from the north side. You're in the Hive. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Lifelong Houstonian, lifelong Astros fan. I'll keep it brief. All season long, I couldn't believe the amount of double plays we grounded into. And then, not to get too technical, I'm not even sure if it's Bagwell or who our hitting coach is, but specifically today, when we talk about approach at the plate, whatever happened, we're facing 5 different new pitchers today. Whatever happened to approach and maybe taking until we get a strike, or guys are missing all over the place. If I see one more swing and a miss at a changeup in the dirt on an 0-0 count, I might put on a Rangers cap. But I'll let you guys talk. Also, in the offseason, if we don't take a look at Trevor Bauer, then I don't know what we're doing. But I appreciate you guys and look forward to hear what you guys have to say.
Matt going all hot takey.
Took a flamethrower to this segment.
This is what being eliminated in the playoffs before the ALCS does to people. He's willing to put on a Ranger hat, and he's going to get in bed with Trevor Bauer.
The show. We're talking Rangers and
Desperate
Trevor Bauer.
Yeah. Rangers matters.
Careful,
what are you
Matt.
doing, Matt?
His original premise of the call, I think, was sound. The Astros' approach at the plate has left. There's been a lot of left there for the Astros this year. They're one of the best averages in the American League. They're one of the best on-base percentages in the American League, but they were not as good in run production. Why? Not great approaches at the plate, not working counts. Remember early in the year, too, it's like not good team baseball, hitting the ball the other way, moving the runner. Runner at third, less than 2 outs, not getting the runner in. The Astros do have tons of double plays. They do hit into a lot of double plays. So I think that the premise is a fair one. Now, don't go put on a Ranger hat and get in bed with Trevor Bauer. You might be signing up for something you're not willing to handle there, Matt. Might not.
Yeah, Matt, don't get into bed with Trevor Bauer, period. I mean, you're going to get hurt. But that was, we've talked about it all season long, and you can point out individual players, and we know some of the guys that have struggled. I mean, everybody's pointing a finger right now at just Tucker overall in another bad playoff performance, but we see the guys chasing too many pitches outside. We see the guys with the wrong approach when they get to the plate. Yiner sometimes, and it's been sporadic, but Yiner sometimes seems like when he gets up there in a very, very clutch situation, that sometimes he gets a little bit more jittery to try to chase that outside pitch that's diving off the outside corner, as does Pena. It's a tough situation, and right now everybody's going to kind of air it out. But, yeah, they did not look good offensively. We knew it was sporadic all season, as Jeremy mentioned, but they really didn't look good in this series. The offense is the number one reason why they lost this series.
713-780-3776. Back out to the HR&P listener line. Robert from the north side. You're in the Hive. Robert, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I feel like the main thing that we got to do is assess blame and not make excuses. One caller referred to injuries at the start of the year. Most of that was not completely isolated to the pitching staff, but the majority was. And we got plenty of production from the guys that stepped into fill roles, even if you account for the trade with Kikuchi. We had plenty of pitching. The glaring weaknesses were supposed to be our strengths, our offense, and that godforsaken bullpen. And my biggest question to you guys, because y'all actually, follow it way more than I do, but eventually the eye test has to be accounted for. To me, it looked like for most of the season, Estrada was basically managing his team like something he read off of a cereal box. It got very frustrating. And if eventually they decided and realized that Abreu and Montero didn't deserve to wear the uniform anymore, how did Presley not end up in that category? All you have to do is watch. Like you guys just said, the numbers offensively were pretty good, but they didn't produce runs. And although at times Presley's numbers might have said he was being effective this season, if you just watched his performances and watched the games, you knew he was a has-been. It's over. He doesn't have the stuff that he once had, playoffs or not. And the fact that he sent him in today, I thought the same thing as you guys. It's probably time to go to Hader top the lineup, the way the lineup was set up. And again, Estrada just went with that robotic, I read it somewhere on a bathroom wall, I put in Presley in the 8th inning, and here we go. It was just very, very hard to watch, especially when you consider Mahinch was on the other side, and I think that guy's brilliant. Hate that he's not still here. I wish we would have went the route of the Red Sox, suspending for a year, get somebody in here and bring him back. But that's all water in the bridge now. But what we saw today, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on some of my observations.
Yeah, let's hit that on the other side. AJ Hinch, did he outmanage Joe Espada? Did he outmanage him in this series? How much is Espada to blame? And yeah, the Presley thing in the 8th inning. Yeah, it was robotic. It was their designed role. Do you believe in designed roles in playoff baseball? Probably shouldn't. We'll hit that on the other side. Again, let us know. Get your emotions off your chest. We're that shoulder. 713-780-3776. It's the Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Guys, before we go to the break, a word from MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is the place I say you always have to be if you want to put money down on games, because they take care of you in so many different ways. They're always trying to look for ways to take care of you as a customer and keep you happy and satisfied as you like to do what you like to do, which is wager, gamble, do some casino games on top of that. And they do it all the time. We always tell you to remember the promo code BET975. BET975 is the code that opens the doors to get you more. It's fantastic. And if you use the promo code right now when you sign up at mybookie.ag and put in that BET975, depending on what you put in, they're going to double your deposit up to $1,000. They're going to put more money in your account. It's going to be instantaneous. You're going to see more money in your account. You're going to know more money in my account, more games I can bet on, and of course, more chances you can win. And as you do those things and as you log in and register, they're going to chart your progress. The more you bet with MyBookie.ag, the more you can move up the MyBookie Plus in terms of their rewards program. The MyBookie Plus rewards program, as you go higher up into the different tiers and levels of the MyBookie Plus program, it'll get you better benefits. It'll get you more promotions and more opportunities to cash in. It's absolutely fantastic. And I mentioned those casino games. Even when there aren't games going on to be played, or you just feel like I haven't done anything with the games lately, I feel like playing some poker or some blackjack. There's live dealers standing by for that too. You don't have to fly to Vegas. You don't have to drive to Louisiana. You, in the comfort of your own home or on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, you can go right to the mybookie.ag website, and you can enjoy that too. Check them out today and tell them we sent you by. Use that promo code BET975. Do what I always tell you to do. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. With the only place I tell you to do it, it's mybookie.ag and that promo code BET975.
You're listening to the Killer Bees with Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
713-780-ESPN. Astros season done. I asked, did Espada get outmanaged, or Estrada, did he get outmanaged by AJ Hinch? Did he outmanage Espada? Seriously? He wiped his behind with Espada. I don't think Espada had a great series. I don't think that the reason the Astros lost this series was because of Espada, though. He scored 1 run yesterday. He scored 2 runs today. The offense is the singular – well, it's not singular, but it's the main blame as to why the Astros are eliminated. Back into the bullpen, you can throw them there. You can say that Espada had some fault, but certainly not the reason they lost. Now, who would I rather have managing my baseball team in October? Yeah, I'll take AJ Hinch.
Yeah, I've always been an AJ Hinch fan, and I know he wears it for what happened in the World Series. But AJ Hinch is a hell of a good manager. He proved it today. He proved it at the end, all season long with what he was able to do to the Tigers, get them where they needed to go. But to the caller's point, look, it's easy to point the finger and place blame on Joe Espada, and we talked about some of it, but he has some of the blame in his back pocket as well. But if you think that anybody, and short of Dusty Baker, and I'm not even sure Dusty Baker is a guy that could have done it, that could have done what Joe Espada did for you for this entire season to turn this thing around and get them to where they finished, then I personally think that you're nuts. The caller, I understand, you're going to wear your emotions right now and you're going to point a finger at the manager of your baseball team. He did one hell of a job. The fact that he had been here to build relationships even when he wasn't the manager, and the fact that went a pretty long way in trying to keep these guys on script and on point while they kept trying to fight and claw their way back, and the fact that they did what they were able to do, I take nothing away from the regular season and Joe Espada. That's a different story, and I give him all his flowers and credit because I'm not sure anybody else could have done a better job.
713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HRMP listener line. Art from Tomball, you're in the Hive. What's up, Art?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
What's up, Art?
Yeah, I'm okay. I was just wanted to just make a couple points because I know a lot of people have already explained a lot of stuff. Pena, I don't know if we've probably seen the feeling with him a couple years ago because he got to get better, man, at hitting. We need another bat in the lineup. Tucker, his sample size has shown me he's not coming in the playoffs, man. I mean, you can make all the excuses about injuries, but it just seems like he's not getting it done. Presley got to go. It's his time. And also Fromber. Fromber's showing another sample size of just not getting it done in the playoffs. Hunter Brown is really impressive, and I think that he may be our ace next year if he keeps it up. I mean, he looked really good. So it wasn't the pitching's fault. It was our offense, like you all have been saying. Have a good evening.
Appreciate the call, Art. Look, I think, too, the other thing is everybody's going to be quick to kind of get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, cut this guy, do that. You got to know every situation that's involved in play, too, like Presley, who's got a no-trade clause in his contract. That's going to play into it. The easy thing is get rid of him, dump him, trade him, do those things. He's got to be on board with it because he's got a no-trade. There's no doubt that Jeremy Pena, we've been dealing with this since he got all the heroics maybe out of his system, and that would be a shame, but all the MVPs in the playoffs and the World Series MVP the year they won it, Jeremy Pena struggles offensively. We know he chases a ton of pitches, breaking pitches, sweepers. We know that his plate discipline is something to be desired. At the end of the day, too, let's be realistic about the fact that when you look at this lineup and all the expectations of this team, you had a less than Yordan Alvarez. He couldn't run. He wasn't what he was even down the stretch until he got hurt. Tucker wasn't the same player because of what he dealt with for 3 months. Somehow you were able to stay afloat when he went through that. The offense, yes, could have used a little extra. There could have been other things, but you also have to take into consideration that this lineup wasn't 100%. Not that anybody is, but they had significant injuries to the middle of that lineup.
Yeah, I think you're letting him off the hook with that. Like, I don't think that, Yordan Alvarez wasn't moving as well once he made contact with the baseball, but Yordan Alvarez smashed a couple of base hits yesterday. I mean, Yordan Alvarez was 2 for 4 yesterday. Hitless today. Was it because of the leg? No. Yordan was fine yesterday. Kyle Tucker, whenever he came back, he played in 18 games in the regular season and hit 365 with a 104.1 OPS. He was over 1,000 OPS. So how in a month and in 77 plate appearances, he has an OPS over 1,000, but then we're going to give him the credit that he was hurt? in the postseason, I think it's letting them off the hook.
I think overall as an offense, I'm not trying to let anybody off the hook, but I'm saying that those guys,
Well,
they
they're dealing with significant injury in the lineup.
but yeah, there were significant injuries. I mean, you were playing Jason Hayward. Before that, you were playing Ben Gamble. We knew that, Chas McCormick wasn't who he was all year long, and then he got hurt too.
Yeah, you said Tucker. I mean, you said
I absolutely pointed a finger at Tucker. And look, in the playoffs, you can obviously say from last year to this year, there's a major significant issue that people can point a finger to, and it's legit.
Yeah,
he hasn't stepped up in the playoffs.
Is Tucker more of a bad postseason hitter the last 2 years, or was he more hurt? I think it's the former.
There's a distinct possibility that that's the case, that he's the Kirk Cousins in terms of what he does in the regular season versus the playoffs based on the last two postseasons. Both guys weren't 100%. They couldn't run. I don't know how much that affected their hitting. You're right down the stretch.
Tucker was over 1,000 OPS in the last month of the year. You can't all of a sudden say, well, he was hurt. Like, no.
I'm not trying to legitimize what he did in the series, Jeremy, but what I'm saying is he still was hurt. And down the stretch, he played a lot of teams.
How much can you give him, how much can you allow him to be off the hook for his poor postseason performance? Only 2 games, small sample. When for 18 games and 77 plate appearances, he had an OPS over 1,000. Like, if you have an OPS over 1,000, you played in 18 games, nearly a month, you had 77 plate appearances, you can't use the injury excuse whenever you're bad in the postseason.
I'm not trying to give him an excuse for this series, but what I'm saying is that he wasn't 100%. What I'm saying is, if you want to look at the numbers down the stretch, they played a lot of teams that were either out of it and throwing AAA pitchers, or teams that were they didn't face the kind of lineups they faced all season long. And yes, he got it going. Pitchers wise, yes, that's what I'm saying. But yeah,
that's
I expect more? But
it's not what you said. You can't say that's what you're saying when you say something else.
What did I say?
You said lineups. You said they're facing different lineups, not
okay. I meant
lineups.
Pitchers. The fact that he was facing a lot of lesser than pitchers, but at the same time, did I expect more from him in the postseason? Sure. I didn't know what to expect from Yordan Alvarez. Did he lace a ball off a Scooble right off the mound at 100+ miles an hour? Absolutely, and that gave me a lot of hope. But it all can't rest on his shoulders either. There's no doubt that the rest of the lineup owns a ton of this, and that is the number one culprit for why they didn't win the series.
I'm just not going to allow you to say that Yordan and Tucker being hurt was the reason their offense was bad. I just can't allow that.
No, I'm not saying that's the reason that they were bad in the playoffs, but I am saying that, look, this team still sustained a ton of injuries, so offensively it was less than no matter what.
That's fine, but I'm just not letting you say that with
That's
Tucker.
Fine, Jeremy.
I'm not letting you get away with that. And then the Ryan Presley thing, he's under contract for $14 million next year. I don't think that you can trade Ryan Presley.
And he's got the no trade.
And even if he wanted to get traded, which team is picking up $14 million on a mediocre reliever? You're stuck with Ryan Presley. You're stuck with Ryan Presley. 713-780-3776 HRMP listener line. Let's go back out to the HRMP listener line. Tyga from the north side. What's up, Tyga?
Hey, what's good, fellas? It kind of sucks, but it's been a good run. I think we still got some more juice in this, but brought up that, we don't know if anybody would have had us in a different position. Having to dig out of 10 games behind was a big deal to us, not even being able to get a bye. So that's kind of played into it. But I also recall a couple weeks ago, we had at least a call or subject in a sense saying, would you trade in the Astros run for a Texans run in a sense of changing it to, and look like we're going to end up getting a Texans Super Bowl this year. All right, fellas, I really appreciate it.
I hope so, Tyga. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, Blanker, saying that the Astros ran out of gas. Like they were climbing an uphill battle the entire regular season. The fact that they were pushing the rock uphill the entire year, both ways in snow. There were 10 games back that they ran out of gas. The reason that they lost this 2-game series to Detroit is because they ran out of gas after being 10 games back in the regular season. Do you put any merit in that argument?
It's hard for me to put merit in that, in the fact that you had guys like Bregman, who had the elbow injury. He was better. He looked like he was himself again. He wasn't sitting out games. Offensively, he looked like he was back in his groove. Altuve finished the year strong enough to look like he finished in his groove. Yiner had a hell of a year. Didn't look like he was off. Yes, you can say the bottom of the lineup for sure, but I don't think they ran out of gas. You had 2 of the 3 best pitchers in the American League from an earned run average standpoint coming into the playoffs. We felt like if you put those guys up against just about anybody's duos in baseball, especially playoff teams, that you could hold your own and hold your head up high going, you got one of the best 1-2 combinations in baseball. You're supposed to have one of the best, if not the best, back of the bullpen in all of baseball. So I don't think that they ran out of gas. I thought they were riding high, feeling like, hey, they did what everybody said couldn't be done. They got to a point that no one had done previous to them. And yeah, it sucked that they had to play in the wild card series, but I think there was a healthy expectation. This team had plenty left in the tank to make a good push for another World Series.
Yeah, I'm not putting any stock in the running out of gas after they were 10 back and you had to climb back. Like, this isn't like, it's not a marathon run. You know what I mean? Like, you have days off. You get nights of sleep. The Astros went to Cleveland and didn't have anything to play for. They got rained out Sunday. They didn't play on Monday. Like, the Astros had plenty of time to regroup and be strong, and they were playing well towards the end of the year. They won their last 3 regular season games. They played well, for the second half of the season. They played really well since a disastrous 7-19 start. So I'm not putting any stock in that. Now, this does show you the importance of getting a bye. Trying to avoid a 3-game series at all costs. I know the Tigers are hot and they're riding this hot hand and all of this stuff. They also had a 1% chance to make the playoffs over the summer. I think the Astros have a better team than the Tigers do. But this is the scary part of playing a 3-game series, is that your season can be done in 2 games. You can run up against an AL Cy Young, and then if you don't sweep the other 2, your season is done. This is the importance of being a top 2 seed. This is the importance of avoiding a wild card round, because series in baseball, especially the shorter series, are coin flips. They are coin flips. The Astros ran up against a really good pitcher. They couldn't get the offense going against a good bullpen today, and then all of a sudden the season is over. So if you haven't learned the lesson of trying to avoid short series at all costs, I hope you learn the lesson now.
Yeah, but you got a team in the Tigers that came in the hottest team in baseball to finish the regular season. You can say that they were young and dumb, but guess what? They came in throwing caution to the wind. AJ Hinch told them to go be, fierce and have fun and just go do what you've done all year. And when you see that you've got the mighty Houston Astros at bay because your pitcher did his job in game 1 and you got enough to get that job done, you came into this one feeling like, hey, fancy free, throwing caution to the wind is no big deal. We're going to take every situation head on. And we feel like we can beat anybody right now. And in a short series, you can. You just did, and you just saw that the better team doesn't always win.
Yeah. The Josh Hader against Andy Ibanez, the pinch hitter, because the Astros had a chance to get out of the 8th inning tied. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Astros go to Josh Hader in that spot. AJ Hinch counters with a righty in Andy Ibanez, and Andy Ibanez triples down the left field line. All 3 runs score there. Josh Hader refused to throw a slider in that at-bat. Refused to throw a slider in that at-bat. He threw 5 straight sinkers, which are fastballs, to Andy Ibanez. Ibanez either fouled off every single one of them. He fouled off every single one of them with the exception of one, in which he took for a ball. That's a really good indicator that Andy Ibanez is on your fastball. Hader didn't throw a slider. Ibanez triples down the left field line. Terrible location. Why doesn't Josh Hader throw a slider there?
Let's just be honest. There? The turning point and what ended your entire season happened about a batter and a half earlier when he spiked an off-speed pitch that Yiner didn't do anything
Presley
to
did,
and the fact that you saw the fact that Presley spiked the pitch, Yiner didn't block it, and I feel like that was the difference maker that sent the message to Josh Hader. I can't afford to throw a slider here that goes into the dirt because I may throw the game away with what Yiner showed you behind the plate, and I think that's exactly why he didn't throw anything but fastballs.
Yeah, I think that he's I don't think he trusted Yiner to block a slider in the dirt. So he went fastball, 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 fastball. Andy Ibanez fouled off every single one except for the one that he took for a ball and except for the one that he tripled down the left field line. 713-780-3776. In its 58th year, the original Greek Festival returns on October 3rd through 5th, a cornerstone of the fall festival season in Houston and the largest of its kind in the nation. The festival features homemade Greek food, traditional Greek dancing, all sorts of authentic shopping, and an opportunity to learn more about the Greek Orthodox faith and culture. Admission to the festival, $8 for adults. Children 12 and under get in free. There's no charge for admission between 11 a.m. through 3 p.m. on Fridays. Keep that in mind. For more information, call 713-526-5377. That's 713-526-5377. Giving away a pair of tickets right now to caller number 3. 713-780-3776. Caller number 3 wins a pair of tickets to the original Greek Festival. 713-780-3776. Let it off your chest, Astro fans. What went wrong today? What went wrong this season? 713-780-3776. It is the Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Before we go to the break, a word from a good friend, Doc Linville. Doc Linville, best in the business at the NeoGraft procedure and at PRP treatments. If you don't know what they are, but you've been losing your hair, you have pattern baldness, you don't think there's anything you can do about it, you need to see the people at Doc Linville's office. And because you listen to us and you're interested in him, you get a free consultation with Doc and his staff that normally costs $150 just by going to 975hair.com. They can explain all the different treatments that they do. They can explain to you, like you've heard PRP used in athletics with shoulders and knees and joints and how it can kind of rejuvenate the injuries that you have going on. PRP treatments can also strengthen and rejuvenate your hair. If you have hair there, it's just not as thick and long and strong as it's been in the past. The PRP treatments can actually act like fertilizing your lawn and strengthen that hair to get it back to where it was when it looked its best. And if you need the NeoGraft procedure like I did, I can tell you right now that I had no idea what it was, but when Doc explained it to me and I went through my consultation, it was a game changer in the fact that he explained you never lose the hair on the sides and the back of your head, no matter how bald you go in other areas. So he takes some of that hair, kind of like resodding your lawn, puts it where you need it most, and you see the results almost immediately because the follicles are visible. But in 6 to 9 months, when you see the full results, you are going to see that you got your hair back. And because he's taking it from a spot where it never goes away, you're going to have it for the rest of your life. It's fantastic. He's great. He's right here in the Med Center. And all I do is ask you, if you're at all interested, to at least go through the free consultation because it can actually be a game changer. Go to 975hair.com and sign up for that free consultation. Go see my friend Doc Linville today.
Live in the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Killer Bees. Now back to Joel and Jeremy.
Sheesh, Brian.
BMAC he's enjoying this.
713-780-ESPN.
Where I'm at, guys. This is how I process my feelings.
HRP listener line. Let's go out to the HRP listener line. Get it off your chest, Houston. Get it off your chest. Tomorrow we start talking about how this team gets back to its glory. That's tomorrow. 713-780-3776. Out to the HRP listener line. Willie, you're in the hive with the Bees. What's going on, Willie?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Always.
I listen to your show all the time. And last week, it was brought up that which one would you rather have, Alex or Tucker? I didn't call in, but I was listening, and everybody was saying Tucker. I think Alex should be the one to stay and Tucker to go because of stuff like today and in the postseason. You know, Alex he's been money almost every year in the postseason, and on the thing with the manager last week, y'all said that you don't think Dusty would have made a difference between with this team, and I think he would have made a little bit of the difference.
Do the Astros score more than 3 runs in 2 games with Dusty Baker at the helm? If Dusty Baker's the manager, Willie, do they score more than 3 runs in the last 2 games?
What I do know is he wouldn't have put Tuck in the 2-hole yesterday against the guy he was 0 for against, and the guy that Alex had hit and Yardon had hit and Altuve had hit. You know, I thought they lost the game before it even started. I didn't like the lineup. I don't understand some of the stuff he do. I think A.J. Hinch, the second worst manager the Astros ever had, and this guy here, he reminds me of A.J. Hinch.
I got you. I think it's a fair point with the lineup. Appreciate the call, Willie. Thank you for listening. I do think it's a fair point with the lineup. Joe Espada has criminally underappreciated the cleanup man all year. And is it the analytical thing where, hey, you stack your best hitters at the very top? Maybe. Maybe their lack of disrespect for the cleanup man. And look, Bregman had a good series. He was in the cleanup spot today. But whenever you look at the Astros lineup every single day, they always have their best hitters 1 through 3. And they don't really have that, okay, let's have some table setters up top, and then let's have the guys who are going to clear the table in the middle of the order. So I actually agree with that last part about Willie. I don't think that Dusty would have had Tucker in the 2-hole against a guy who hasn't had success with. I do think that Dusty would have a more respect and appreciation for the cleanup spot, which I think is kind of a lost art. I still think that's either the first or second most important spot in the lineup. Espada thinks it's the 4th most important spot in the lineup. So I do think it's a fair point by Willie.
Yeah, but I don't think that Joe Espada is to blame for,
I don't either.
And I don't think he's the second worst or third, and I don't think A.J. Hinch is the second worst manager in Astros history. I think that's going way too far, and I think that both guys deserve a lot of credit for what they were able to do when they had an Astros uniform on. But at the end of the day, they didn't hit, and offensively, no matter what the lineup was, no one was really putting up any significant numbers to say that this offense was putting the ball in play, getting base hits, and setting the table for anybody else to do anything else. They had a few opportunities, but overall, with a team that had hitters like this in its lineup, should they have done a lot more? A hell of a lot more.
Even the 7th inning was a disappointment. The Astros scored two runs in the 7th inning to take the lead, and it's like, okay, great. Save the lead, Astros bullpen. Force the rubber game tomorrow. Force the if necessary, game 3. That 7th inning, a lot of fortune there. You know, A.J. Hinch, like the genius of A.J. Hinch, went with the young kid, and the young kid was a bit nervous. He hits Caratini. Jeremy Pena gets a bloop single, just an absolute rocket off of Pena's little bloop single. Mauricio Dubon bunts. He gets on a really good bunt, probably would have beat it out, but third baseman never gets it out of his glove. So you have the bases loaded, nobody out, and you score 2 runs. John Singleton hits a ground ball to first base. Torkelson makes a good diving play on it. His throw to the plate, not accurate. It's unable to be brought in by the catcher Rogers. So he scores. Bases are still loaded with nobody out. You've scored 1. And then Jose Altuve hits a little weak pop fly down to right. Now, Pena did a great play to score on it. So now you take the lead 2-1, and then Kyle Tucker with runners in the corners and 1 out hits into an inning-ending double play. You scored 2 runs with the bases loaded with 1 run already across. You had the bases loaded, nobody out, 1 run already across, and you only got 1 more. You only got 1 more.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It literally is embarrassing, again, for a team that has hitters that are supposed to be this good, that we've seen do a lot of good things in their time in an Astros uniform. There's no way that you get out of that inning by saying at that point, when already a tie game, you only could cross 1 more and take a 2-1 lead. That was absolutely pathetic. It was embarrassing, and it was a microcosm of the series in the fact that they could not put the ball in play and get runs across. They did not look good at all offensively.
No, that was and maybe to Willie's point, maybe that's where Jordan in the 2-hole makes more sense than Kyle Tucker in the 2-hole. Like, Espada's been hell-bent that, Jordan needs a bat second. Would have been nice to see Jordan up with the runners in the corners with one out instead of Kyle Tucker, who for the second straight postseason has been on the back of a milk carton. 713-780-3776. Back out to the HRP listener line. Troy, you're in the Hive with the Bees. What's up, Troy?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. And I'm really irate, so I'm going to try to get this out without stumbling all over. I don't see how anybody can blame this on Espada. Your setup guy and your ace closer come in there and completely stink. And then you've got your best lineup with all of them in there. Tucker's back. Jordan's back. They're all back. Espada wasn't out there watching 3 strikes right down the middle while Kyle Tucker never took his bat off of his shoulder. I don't blame any of this on that. Let it sink in that they scored 3 runs in 2 games, and your bullpen sucks. I'll hang up and listen.
Appreciate the call, Troy. Look, Troy's not wrong. I mean, that's where I'm at. We talk all season long about how many games can a manager affect. Now, when you talk about strategy, is there ways that you can, affect getting a run here or there or preventing a run here or there? Yes. But overall, at the end of the day, he's not going out there and throwing the strikes. He's not going out there swinging the bats. The bats were putrid. They were pathetic. That's not what this lineup is supposed to do. The Tigers are the ones that are supposed to have the lesser than offensive lineup that don't hit home runs, that have a hard time putting up a lot of runs. And yet the Tigers looked confident. They looked like they got good at bats. I mean, look what they did to Fromber yesterday, barreling up baseballs. They didn't have any problems, and the Astros struggled mightily offensively. That's where it starts. There's plenty of other ways before you finish. I agree with Troy. I don't put the blame on Espada for the season. Yes, there are areas of this series you could point the finger at.
Yeah, I don't put the top blame on Espada, and I'm not trying to fire Espada today. I would have preferred Hinch over Espada. But you're not firing Espada today and hiring Hinch. Like that's obvious. Now, maybe in the offseason, you could have went after Hinch instead of Espada. I think Espada does deserve some blame, though. Ryan Presley in the 8th inning. Now, we all knew it was coming because Espada has not been willing to budge off of Abreu's my 7th inning guy. Presley's my 8th inning guy. Hader's my 9th inning guy. I think it's flawed. I think it's flawed managerial decisions. Even if Presley's even if you're hell-bent keeping Presley as that middle guy, well, do you have to have these designed roles and Presley has to face the top of the order? Abreu looked really dang good in the 7th. Yes, it's 18 pitches, but Joe Espada told me that he was willing to use Yusei Kikuchi today, but he wasn't willing to go more than 18 pitches with Brian Abreu. How does that add up? How does that make sense? I would have went with the hot hand against the top of the lineup, a guy that I trust more than Presley. Whether or not Espada does, I don't know. And I'm not Joe Espada, but if he trusts Presley more than Brian Abreu, we got some serious problems. The second thing that you can point to some blame for Espada was Josh Hader not as efficient today and as effective today because he was used yesterday? He threw 15 pitches in a game that they were down by 3 runs. Did that impact his performance today? We don't know. We'll never know the answer to that. It'll be, it'll be something that we just have to guess. We have to guess if it impacted his performance today. Did it? There's no way to know for sure. And then I think you could also point some blame to the lineup construction when it comes to Joe Espada. We can argue the impact of that and what it means. Some people think it means a lot. Some people don't think it's much. But Presley, Hader, lineup construction, you can absolutely question Joe Espada's decisions in these 2 games.
Yeah, look, I don't think Joe Espada should be fired. I don't think he's one of the worst managers in Astros history. Do I think that he has to shoulder some of the blame here? Absolutely. And the list is very long. You can go to individual hitters. You can say the offense should have done more. We know because we all watched the game together, both games, to have the reservations we had about his misuse or usage, depending on how you look at it, on the back of the bullpen and the pitching staff. Those things, fair game, and those things should be criticized. I just don't think that the guy should be fired, and I don't think that he should be blamed for the entire season to say that, he should shoulder why they were so bad in this series. No,
yeah, you can question some of the decisions,
sure.
But yeah, I don't think that he's the most to blame when it comes to the year. All right, 713-780-ESPN. What went wrong today for the Astros? What went wrong this season for the Astros? 713-780-3776. It's the Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Guys, the moment for Allstate Siding and Windows. Look, if you're looking to protect your biggest investment, and for most of us, that's our home, the way that you start by creating that really tough outer shell for that house is siding and windows. And the best place that I can tell you to go is Allstate Siding and Windows because they've been in business for almost 50 years. They know what they're talking about. They know their products. They can look at your house. They can tell you exactly what products would be the best fit, whether it be windows or siding. But the siding is fantastic. It's durable. It takes a lot of the overall maintenance out of the equation, but yet gives you that protection with what we're dealing with in terms of weather and elements here in Houston. Same thing with the windows. They can look at the age of your house and look at what the house, in terms of the design, and tell you the best windows, the best fit that are going to give you the best performance. The big thing when we went with Allstate Siding and Windows, when we got our house a year and a half ago, is the fact that they know and can tell you how to lower your energy bills by up to 40%. They know and can tell you the best fit for your house. I can tell you now that when you drive up to our house, the curb appeal has been upped quite a bit by the fact that the new windows we put in have an unbelievable look and feel to more modernize the house, and a very clean and elegant look for the outside of the house. But the most important thing is our energy bills have gone way down. The house is more energy efficient, and that their windows are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. In the summertime, they keep that heat out. In the wintertime, they keep that warmth in. And during hurricane season, they are tough, they are resilient, and they are going to be there for you when you need them most to protect all those important contents, family and otherwise, inside your house. They are fantastic, and because they're locally owned and operated, they're going to take care of you immediately. Get that free estimate, because most companies will charge you to come out and show you what they can do. They come to you, tell you what they can do. It costs you absolutely nothing. 832-204-1936 gets them to your door to explain everything to you. 832-204-1936. Go to the website as well, allstatesidingandwindows.com, and see all the different products they offer and how they can help you. But right now, 30% off all window jobs, $2,500 off complete siding jobs. Free estimates are available, so start there first at 832-204-1936. See the good people at allstatesidingandwindows.com.
Mike Hawley, U of H class of 1990, has been protecting the interests of businesses for nearly 25 years, going on 3 decades. HRP provides comprehensive human capital management services, including HR compliance, benefits administration, and payroll. HRP will also work with you to customize a plan for whatever you need. There's nothing cookie cutter about HRP. You need a little help, a lot of help, anything in between. HRP will create a plan for what you and your business needs. Their customer service, second to none. You'll never talk to a stranger on the other side of the line. You'll be calling someone familiar with you and familiar with your company. I can speak to that customer service anytime I have a question, quick response, easy to understand. Let HRP take on the demands of human resources and eliminate your HR burden so you can get back to growing your business. Give them a call at 281-880-6525 and let HRP customize a plan for you, 281-880-6525, or check them out at hrp.net. That's hrp.net.
You're back with the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
All right, 713-780-ESPN. Brian sad. You're all sad. Get your feelings off your chest. Vent to the bees. So if anybody knows postseason failures, it's the killer bees, right?
Facts.
Right? So vent your postseason failures with those that know postseason failures. 713-780-3776. 0492, I don't care, Hater pitched 15 pitches yesterday. He needs to man up and not be a bad word. Okay. He is handsomely paid to not be a bad word. So I do think that's a fair point, although I wouldn't have used Hader in a 3-run deficit in the first. I saw Chandler Rome trying to compare using Hader in the ninth inning of a 3-run deficit in game 1 to the 7th game of the ALCS yesterday. I'm not sure the reaches that he was going to. He was just like, postseason's different. You can't have these, normal decisions you see in the regular season, the postseason. He's like, well, don't you remember game 7 of the AL championship series? And it's like, that was an elimination if necessary, backs against the wall. Game 1 of a wild card series is not.
Nothing gave you any indication for 8 innings that they were going to do anything short of 3 and done. And then you were expecting 3 runs, and that's why you used Josh Hader. We went through this after the game yesterday. There's neither one of us had even the slightest positive thought in our head that this was what they should have done yesterday, and could it have affected today? Yeah, there's a chance that it did.
Yeah, that's right. 2920, what an absolute crappy broadcast as well. Cameras being off, panning to the ball, audio, stupid comments. They were late getting to a bunch of the reactions too, like hit ball off the bat. They're always a little late. They missed a couple of pitches or were late in a couple of pitches. I felt like the Astros were doomed the moment I saw that Michael K was calling this game.
I didn't like
the series.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't like that.
And then you put him with Todd,
Todd Father, Todd Frazier.
Todd Frazier, and I don't mind Kirkjian on a sideline type role.
I usually don't mind Kirkjian. He really aggravated me this
series. Maybe because of the fact that you were already dealing with 2 Yankees guys that were in the booth. I hated all of. I saw Reddick tweeted the minute that it was announced he's turning the volume down. We probably should have too, because it was tough. And you're right. Look, I think the epitome of the broadcast was the fact that when Tucker got the called third that rolled behind the catcher, they stayed on the third base umpire, and never saw it. We were wondering, did Tucker even run? Did he know? When did he know? We didn't know because they didn't show it to us.
Yeah, that was rough production, rough broadcasters if you're an Astro fan. 0834, just give the Tigers their due. Okay, Tigers, congratulations, you win the series. Let's call it a show. Let's quit it. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Show's over. Let's check out 20. Can you play just sad music for the final 20 minutes? We gave the Tigers their due. That's all we're going to do. Just give them their Tigers the due. Okay, Tigers, there's your due. 20 minutes of sad music the rest of the way.
Brian just grabbed 2 turntables in his headset. He's ready to DJ sad tunes from now to the top of the hour.
Yeah, I mean, in sincerity, congratulations to AJ Hinch. Congratulations to the Tigers. Will you be rooting for the Tigers the rest of the way?
Look, I'm a fan of AJ Hinch. I think AJ Hinch in a series against Cleveland, if I have to root for either team, sure, I'll take the Tigers. I'll root for the Tigers because they're the underdog, because that's a hell of a story. They've been on a hell of a run, and they beat the Astros.
Well, they'll be facing the Yankees, though, so definitely rooting for the Tigers in the next round.
Do they do a reseed?
Wouldn't the lowest seed face the top seed?
I don't know if they do the reseed.
I don't think they do a reseed.
I think it's a bracket. I thought
it was a bracket.
Yeah, that was a straight bracket.
Is it a straight bracket?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
My fault.
It's not the NFL, Brian. Stick to football.
It should be.
Stick to football. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to watch another baseball game the rest of the season. I think I'm done.
Probably.
I'm done watching baseball.
Probably
Maybe in the World Series, if there's nothing on, I might tune it on the back. Maybe if I'm not doing anything and I'm not watching Vanderpump Rules, although that's not in season, maybe I'll put it on in the background. But I'm probably out for baseball the rest of the year.
I'm not.
Probably done.
You guys know that.
I got Netflix shows to finish.
Yeah.
And I know.
Baseball.
I'm only one episode into that Menendez Brothers show on Netflix. I'll probably finish that.
Call 50 baseball games. Watch the Astros play 163. That's over 200 baseball games in the last, what is it, 6 months or so? No, it's more
than that. So you're saying you're not a diehard?
8
baseball
months. No, I'm a diehard. I'm
Very
a Houston.
casual.
No, I'm a Houston baseball diehard.
So casual.
I watch 100. How many did I say? I watched over 200 Houston baseball games, professional or collegiate. I'm a Houston baseball diehard. How about the rest of baseball? Yeah, I'm a casual. I'm a casual when it comes to the rest of non-Houston baseball. I've seen too much baseball this year. Love it. But I'm done. I'm checking out. Maybe as background music as I'm working on the show. I'm not going to be checking out all these games. There's no chance I'll watch a full game the rest of the year.
There's plenty of teams to root against, and there's plenty. that I'll be watching. I will be watching baseball, but it does suck that they're out this quickly because I really firmly believe that the Astros were going to make another run.
To go Rockets, go Texans, says 1117. Yeah, will you be watching baseball the rest of the year? I'm curious what y'all think, Hive. 713-780-3776. As soon as the Astros are done, I'm over baseball. 6403, their body language seemed to show complacency other than when Pena scored. Just seemed like the Tigers had that youth and fire. There's probably a little bit to that. There's also probably the fact that, okay, you're down 1-0 in a series, so you start to tense up a little bit. Oh, no, we're down late. We're 12 outs away from elimination. That doesn't feel great. And then when you take the lead, you see that spark, but then you immediately lose the lead, and then it's like deflation.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think the fact that we all knew, and they knew too, that their offense was less than and was not performing, and the fact that that's why I think there was a lot of us saying, hey, look, the best thing that could happen to this team right now going into game 2 is get a run or two early, get the lead, start to build up a little confidence, and then see where it takes you. But instead, Tigers were the first to score yet again. And even when you scored, it was it was like pulling teeth watching it all unfold to where you had to just basically cross your fingers and hope to get the Pena across the plate to get the lead. And before you knew it, as quick as you got it, you lost it. And then when Michael Kay was making mention of the fact, it just seems so quiet in here. Well, yeah, because you just crapped the bed on TV when you got your first lead of the series, and it pretty much looks like it's over.
713-780-3776. Back out to the HRP listener line. Tyler from Beaumont in the High. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to see what y'all's opinions were on what this pitching staff might look like next year with all these guys coming back from Tommy John. What 5 do y'all think, or 6 do y'all see us keeping? Also, if we lose Bregman, do you think we might as well look to trade Tucker and kind of get a little bit? Because we don't have a whole lot coming up from the looks of it in our farm system. Nothing great. And then lastly, Forrest Whitley, do you think he could be an option for a guy that can give you 2 or 3 innings next year if they build him as a full reliever through the entire spring training and early next year? I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate the call. I think we can start reverse order from the standpoint of there was a lot there, but I think from a Forrest Whitley perspective, look, he pitched well at AAA. I don't think they're going to look to get 2 or 3 innings from him, but if he can prove to be a guy. The bullpen, I think there's a lot of slots that are going to be open next year, and there's a good chance that he could solidify one if he can prove that he can go out and throw a lockdown inning when he's called on. We saw what Ort was able to do. We saw Ort had a plus fastball. He was effective to a certain degree for this team. There's nothing in my book that says that Forrest Whitley isn't going to have a place on this team next year in the bullpen if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think Forrest will be in the Astros bullpen. He's not going to be a multi-inning guy. He'll be a 1-inning guy, and I think he has a chance to be a real weapon there too. I think his stuff will play. Now he's got to get command. The command is the big issue with him, but he's got elite stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, can his command be enough to make him a weapon in the pen? I think that it will. Rotation, I'm going to sit down tonight and put together my Astros offseason plan. We're going to start the reload for the Astros getting back to the World Series tomorrow. But when it comes to like Fromber, he's got a year left on his deal. Kyle Tucker, a year left on his deal. So what the Astros do have options, though, because they do have a lot of starters under contract. Fromber is under contract. Hunter Brown's obviously under contract. Yusei Kikuchi's free. What do you do there? Justin Verlander, who said he's not stepping away, by the way. He said he wants to keep playing baseball. Said that in the postgame. What do you do with him? I think we all know the answer there. Yeah. Spencer Arrighetti, obviously under club control. So that's what you had in the rotation this year. Did I get them all? You had Fromber, you had Hunter Brown, you had Kikuchi, you had Verlander, you have Arrighetti, Blanco. And then Blanco's also under contract. So, your rotation's shaping up to be really stinking good. Yep. And then you have, Lance McCullers should be back. If he's not back, then we all know what we can say about Lance McCullers. But his timeline, he should be back. Luis Garcia's throwing bullpens already. He should be back. So they'll factor into the equation some way, somehow. You're expected to. It's no guarantee because look what happened to Luis Garcia and Lance McCullers this year. We thought we were getting them back in the summer, and they didn't pitch 1 inning this year. You're supposed to get Javier back at some point next year. You're supposed to get Urquidy back at some point next year. So you still have a lot of depth at starting pitcher. Do you go out? Do you add an arm? Do you add 2 arms? Well, I'll tell you tomorrow. Listen to the Killer Bees from 3 to 6 on ESPN 97.5.
Do you factor JP France in as a guy that's going to be in the mix?
No, that's organizational depth. I'm not factoring JP France to be pitching on my big league team ever. If I have to, because he's in the organization and I have a bunch of injuries, okay. But no, I'm not factoring him to ever be taking a spot on my big league pitching staff. No.
I mean, they're going to have him. So, he's going to be Sugarland or otherwise, but there's another guy that could potentially whether here or elsewhere, depending on if he's healthy. There's another guy at least with starting pitching depth that you have.
Yeah, I
But
think organizational depth. I don't think
yeah.
it's elsewhere, though, because I don't think JP France has any trade value.
Not right now. Not right now. But if he shows he can pitch again, whether it's here or primarily somewhere else, if he comes out and
I don't know, man. Like a guy who had a what was it, a 4.40 ERA last year? He's like 28.
what I mean, look,
Stuff's pretty
his
mediocre.
selling point's 8 starts 2 years ago by the time he gets to next season.
yeah. I just think there's a name that when he was here, we did see some good things out of him that just to add to that depth. But yeah, I don't pencil him to be a starter. Look, they got too many guys to choose from there that it's a no-brainer. Verlander's not going to be here. I would love Kikuchi to be here, but I think Kikuchi won't be here because his price tag's going to be high, and you got too many other guys to choose from, some of which you've already paid that you're expecting to be a part of this rotation.
And then Alex Bregman asked afterwards, he says, "It's been a fun time, and I cherish every second of it. It's been an honor to be here." He went on to say he hopes to be back next year, but will let Scott Boras handle everything this offseason.
Should we translate?
Yeah.
That's Alex Bregman's going to the highest bidder.
Show me the money.
Alex,
period.
I don't know if it necessarily means he gone. I do think that he will go to the highest bidder because look, Jose Altuve is represented by Boras. Lance McCullers, who signed a team-friendly deal that has not hit the ROI on that, he was represented by Boras, but they told Boras, "Hey, I want to stay here. I'm okay signing a less than market value deal." Whenever Alex Bregman says that he's going to let Scott Boras handle everything this offseason, that's Alex Bregman saying that I'm going to sign with the team that gives me the most money. Now, Bregman's contract, what does that look like? I think that there is still a shot. I'll put it at about 25-30% that the Astros could offer him the most money.
I think that depending on how many years it entails, I think that there is a chance because of what you've heard and because of the fact that they know what he's meant here, that it's not about the money per year. It's going to be about how many years will they go, because I think that if there's a team that's willing to go 5-6 years with Alex Bregman, then I think he's gone. But I think that in a shorter time frame of a couple years that they give him $30 million a year or something like that, that I think that that's something that they might be willing to do. I'm not sure he's going to be willing to take it.
713-780-ESPN HRP listener line. Final chance to get it off your chest today. Astros season is over. 713-780-3776. It's the Bees on ESPN 97.5, ESPN 92.5.
Guys, before we go to the break, another word from MyBookie.ag. Look, there's baseball games going on right now. We know that even if the Astros aren't in it, if you do want to still pay attention to baseball, you want to make those uninteresting games more interesting, you can put some money down on it. We know that there's college football and pro football all week and every week and weekend that you are watching, that you are in just dialed into it, and sometimes you want to put money down on top of it, you go to MyBookie.ag. That's why I always tell you to go there, because MyBookie.ag has been in business for over a decade. They take care of their customers. They're doing it again right now. If you've never been to MyBookie.ag in the past, but you are thinking about putting some money down on some games, go there now, because they're going to do their double your first deposit bonus yet again. That means if you use our promo code BET975 when you sign up and put money in your account, whatever you put in, they're going to double it and put that in as well, up to $1,000. More money in your account, more games you can bet on, and of course, with that, more chances you can win. And as you continually use MyBookie.ag, as you get involved in the MyBookie Plus program, you can climb the different levels and tiers of all the different benefits you get by participating with MyBookie, and you can gain better odds, you can get better promotions, and you can get a lot of benefits from doing that as well. And when there's no games going on, or you feel like casino games, they got that going as well. Live dealers standing by, casino games right there at the beck and call of your phone, of your tablet, of your desktop or your laptop computer. But always remember our promo code and use it whenever you can, because that's where you're going to really cash in with the Bet975. Go to where I always tell you to go. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. With the only place I tell you to do it, it's mybookie.ag. Use our promo code BET975.
Hey, sports bettors, Branham here to tell you about my favorite sportsbook and casino, and that's BetUS.com. Football is back, so it's time to get in on the action. Football's all we got. I endorse one sportsbook and casino, and that's BetUS. If you want a game plan to win this season, then check out BetUS. BetUS went large for you this season with a huge offer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. That's right. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. BetUS offers value other sportsbooks simply do not. Gambler's insurance, crypto bonuses, casino bonuses, plus they have all the products you need. Competitive odds, parlays, live betting, odds boost, and prop betting. When you're ready to lay down your bet, give your bet an edge. Why not combine your sign-up bonus with knowledge? Get that knowledge with expert analysis, picks, and predictions on all major sports on their very own BetUS TV. Get started at BetUS.com or give them a call at 1-800-MyBetUS. BetUS, where the game begins.
You're locked in with the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
I might have a Gentle Ben whiskey tonight, as a matter of fact. Put this Astros season to bed. A little post-mortem whiskey.
Sounds very good to me.
What are the
my
best
future tonight?
What are the best whiskey? 713-780-3776. End of season baseball whiskey is one of the top ones. It really is.
I don't know. I was going to say, I thought you were looking
Baseball
for brand names,
season's
and we
a
know
grind,
it's Gentle
man.
Ben, right?
Baseball season's a grind. Like, I love baseball. But 165 games, it is a grind. So it's a whiskey at the end of the season.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, and that's a tough pill to swallow when you look at just how far you had to come and overcome to get where you got. Just to have it all go away in 2 games sucks.
Yeah. All right. 713-780-3776. Soccer Matters coming up at 6. Mike Elko. Okay. Mike Elko coming up at 7:30, the Aggie Coaches Show. And then Hall of Fame with Brad Gilmore and Houston's Worstest, Booker T. They'll be on for the ride at 9 o'clock.
Can't even come together on a day where the Astros get eliminated?
No.
Still firing shots?
No. 6389. We have 0 ace pitchers. We need trade. Sign Goldie. That's what the Astros need. Another over-the-hill aging first baseman.
Yeah,
I would have been okay with that in the middle of the year, but not now.
And no ace pitchers, huh? Hunter Brown didn't pitch well today, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever they put in my glasses, 8716. It's a good point. This is a good point. I never want to see Chas, Meyer, Singleton, and Presley in an Astros uniform again. I think all 4 are Astros again.
Yep. Because of the price tag.
I think all 4 are Astros again. All right, that does it for us. Thanks to Brian for working half the show and playing a bunch of sad music. He's Blankers. I'm Branham. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Houston. Soccer Matters. Glenn Davis up right now on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, traveling today. Today we are on the east side of downtown as we will bring you the next hour of soccer talk here from Shell Energy Stadium ahead of the Dynamo tonight against the New England Revolution. We'll get into that tonight, the implications of this game. And we will have on the head coach, Ben Olsen. We're looking out on the field right now from our vantage point. Ben Olsen is out on the field like now, some of the Dynamo support staff coaching-wise. And as everybody seems to be in a loose mood here tonight. Of course, we're on the heels of the Astros getting eliminated by the Detroit Tigers. So that's a little bit of a sad one. I'm not sure that was totally unexpected. But people that know baseball better than me, like Joel and Jeremy, are the ones to talk to about that. We had a big day here in the Champions League, and I do want to get to that in a minute. We will bring you the starting lineups once those officially come out here tonight. We stream at ESPN975.com. I've also got tickets to El Clasico to give out here. Listen, last night, the phone lines were blowing up. Now, by the way, if you're upset about meat prices, $1 hot dogs tonight down here at the Houston Dynamo. $1 dogs if you're upset about those meat prices. So get them. And then you see a great soccer game with the Dynamo taking on the New England Revolution, who, well, I would say the Revolution are the epitome of helping you understand what the playoff system is in Major League Soccer. So here is a team that's 9-17-4. They're 14th in the East. And they're only 6 points out of a playoff spot. They're 14th out of 15 in the Eastern Conference, and they're only 6 points out of a playoff spot with 3 games to go. They pretty much have to win out. But it's all about participation. 18 of 29 teams makes the playoffs. So how much should you celebrate when you make the playoffs? I think a lot when you're the Houston Dynamo for a second consecutive year and you haven't been in the playoffs much in the last I don't know, eternity. So I think it's good the Dynamo are in. Now, the Dynamo tonight have an opportunity to go forth and try and end up in the top 4, get home field advantage. Very, very important for the playoffs. I want to take you into UEFA. I want to take you into the Champions League, and I want to take you into some results. Now, bear in mind, U.S. players are performing very well in Europe the last couple of rounds. I wonder why. I wonder if Mauricio Pochettino, being the new coach of the U.S. men's national team, maybe that's spiked some motivation in people, huh? New boss in town. You're going to have to reestablish yourself because you know what? Mauricio Pochettino doesn't care what you've done before this. And that's what this U.S. national team needed. The kumbaya is over. The overly friendly atmosphere is over, and things are changing for the better. All right, so let's get into some results today in the Champions League. Shakhtar Donetsk of the Ukraine goes down 3-0 to Atalanta. There is a guy on Atalanta. If you ever get to see them play, it's an interesting team. Ademola Lookman scored 1, played a part in the other 2, played a part in all 3 goals. His goal contribution, 3 out of 3. Excellent player. If you ever get a chance to watch Atalanta of the Serie A, take it in. Over at Hugh O'Connor's pub today on I-10 in the Marquee Entertainment Center, the Liverpool supporters group goes wild. 2-0 victory over Bologna. Get a great game from Mo Salah. Remember when we all thought Mo Salah was leaving Liverpool? Seems to be enjoying life there. Mo Salah, one of the goals, and Alexis McAllister. And Hugh O'Connor's pub over there having a great time. Here's a good one. Now, bear in mind there was the Madrid derby this weekend that ended 1-1. We talked about that last night on Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, presented by the Daspit Law Firm. Okay, that derby ended 1-1. There were some problems with the fans. Well, you flip it around, and you play today on a Wednesday in the Champions League, and Atletico Madrid gets smoked 4-0 by Benfica of Portugal. How about that? 4 different goal scorers, and guess who's one of them? Angel Di Maria, who may be on a flight to Inter Miami in the near future. Maybe not. Maybe. Di Maria gets one. Benfica, legendary. Eusebio, 4-0 victory over Atletico Madrid. The man in black today, the coach of Atletico Madrid, struggling. Here's another good one. Now, remember, Atletico Madrid played Real Madrid. Real Madrid loses today. A 14-game unbeaten streak in the Champions League is broken. Who breaks it? Lille of the French League One. It is a 1-0 victory, a 1-0 victory for you purists out there. Guess who gets the goal? Canadian international Jonathan David. Maybe the biggest goal of his professional career. Red Bull Leipzig, 2, Juventus, 3. Vlahovic had a pair in that one, but good sign. Weston McKennie goes a full 90 minutes for the U.S. for Juventus. Actually, he came up with a big tackle in midfield that led to one of the goals. So Weston McKennie, who's had this up and down saga, drama, it's like a telenovela, it's like a whatever you want to call it, in and out of favor with different coaches at Juventus. This kid has fought. He's in the starting lineup again. And we got to see him at full speed. So Juventus 3-2 over Leipzig. And we have an Aston Villa supporters group in Houston. 1-0 victory today over Bayern Munich. How about that? Aston Villa ending up in the top 4 last year in the Premier League. Great season. John Duran with the goal. 1-0 over Bayern Munich. Big stuff right there for Aston Villa. Great for them. All right, first ever World Cup. By the way, we are hosting the World Cup here in 2026 for those of you who are under a rock and don't understand that. Not hearing a whole lot about it. Monterrey, Mexico just had a huge all-star game with the world stars. Well, you're going to hear about it always on this show. The first ever World Cup competition. This is our World Cup 2026 moment in Houston. First ever World Cup was in Uruguay. And Uruguay won a number of those titles in the early years. So the first ever World Cup in Uruguay. All right, so tonight the Houston Dynamo. Pretty clear that the Dynamo tonight will be missing Griffin Dorsey. He's out tonight due to a suspension. You've got some changes Ben Olsen is going to have to make. I think the obvious move there is either Daniel Steres moves in at the right back position, and staying in the left back position would be Franco Escobar. Escobar could move over to the right. Brad Smith, maybe. I don't see it. I see it as Daniel Steres. He's been very reliable there. 713-780-3776. 713-780-3776. If you got to take Dynamo fans, if you catch me tonight, you might even, if you see me in the stadium, you might even get a Soccer Matters t-shirts because I got some. By the way, you get them at Lamont Brands and the hats as well. So since September 10th, Christian Pulisic has 4 goals since Mauricio Pochettino was hired on the 10th. 4 goals in 5 matches. Got one in the Milan derby on the weekend, which was huge for Milan as they beat Inter Milan. Big stuff. And you're seeing U.S. players right now performing well. Ricardo Pepi had a couple of goals in the Netherlands. So a lot going on. So here's a couple of keys here tonight for the Houston Dynamo. First of all, New England Revolution broke a 5-game winning streak, got a 1-0 victory against Nashville. Much more compact, tighter defensively. I would expect that again here tonight. I wouldn't change anything, I think, if you're the New England Revolution. They're a dangerous animal, even though they've lost 17 games. And it's been an absolute nightmare there. By the way, they've given up 60 goals this year. 60 goals. The Dynamo have only given up 34. They've been a disaster. 33 goals for, 60 against. And you can be a disaster and still only be 6 points out of a playoff spot. How about that? All right, so they will be a challenge. They got an elite playmaker, Carlos Gil. Excellent player. Produces the past. This guy that played at Valencia, Aston Villa, Deportivo La Coruña. And if you remember, 2019, 2022, MLS Best 11. Excellent player. And he's the kind of guy in transition that can hurt you with the pass. They've also got a striker named Giacomo Vrioni. He's 25 years of age. He's a DP. And then Luca Langoni, an Argentine 22-year-old. So they've got a little bit of unknown coming into this tonight. I do not think this is going to be an easy game because simply when you take Griffin Dorsey out of the Dynamo attack, that is one of your biggest pieces of the attack. Aliu has struggled a little bit lately. 713-780-3776. I wonder if there's one Dynamo fan driving to this game that might call in. 713-780-3776. Who knows, Brian? And by the way, keep that number handy. Caleb Porter now is walking right in front of us, going over towards the New England bench, checking his phone, probably making an entry on Twitter right now. I don't know. You never know, right? So Hector Herrera today was at a salon getting his hair, he's got the tips. He was getting his hair worked on. Well, I was wanting to say, Hector, tell us where you are injury-wise, because he's, I don't think, expected to play here tonight, and he's such a big part of this team. 713-780-3776. So with Griffin Dorsey out, New England does not have to worry about Dorsey on the right side of the field tonight, which has been a big part of the Dynamo attack. So we'll see what happens there. If Hector Herrera, he's not expected to play tonight. I think he's listed as questionable, but that who knows what that means, if he's even going to dress. I'm thinking it'll be Coco Carrasquilla again, and you'll need another big game out of Coco, who will play in the Hector Herrera role for the third straight game. So as I mentioned on the last show, and we're going to put a video of this up, the possession game of the Dynamo, exceptional. Don't concede goals, partially because of the possession game. You have the ball, nobody else can score. Keeping it away from an opponent. But there is definitely an issue in the final third. There is definitely an issue. In the last 7 games, the Dynamo have 8 goals. I'll take 4 of those out of there against Real Salt Lake. So the Dynamo are built to win 1-goal type of games. They had 1 shot on goal in Seattle. Now they're back home here tonight. Those numbers will change. But the final third is an issue. It was an issue last year. It was the biggest question coming into this year. And they have not been able to come up with solutions. My thoughts are this. To complement a great possession game, you have to be a bit of a threat in transition. Dynamo are not dangerous in transition. In fact, a lot of times look off transition, hold things up so they can build and move up the field together. And that may be by design by Ben Olsen, that they don't want to do that because they want to remain connected, compact, and move together. Dribblers. The Dynamo rank low in Major League Soccer when it comes to taking people on off the dribble and getting a shot. Just think about that. Taking people on off the dribble and getting a shot. They rank 24th in the league at that. Now, that's an element you need. And I don't see it. And they also rank low in drawing free kicks because of that reason. They don't have dribblers. They don't have people who take people on. Again, I don't know if that's by design or not. I can't think it is. But it is a system that is meant to stay compact, move together, and I don't think it takes enough risk. And I think that's a fair point to say. And nobody really wants to talk about the final third because, it's not working. I heard the Ben Olsen press conference, and Ben's coming on in the next minute or two, and he was talking about the defending side. It's been a great defending team. We know that. I think everybody has known that and has appreciated that. I don't think that's something that's missed by people. I think that's a given. I think that's consistent. And I think Hey, Brian, I think we were getting some phone calls. See if we can grab them. That would be good. I think we're getting some phone calls from some Dynamo fans. 713-780-3776 if you're on the way. Give us a call, 713-780-3776 if you're on the way. I don't know if Brian's able to hear me or not, so maybe this is an issue of communication here. So, bottom third at goal-creating activities in MLS. This is a problem. And if you don't win games 1-0 or keep games close, it's a challenge. Dynamo from long range, I think sometimes we say they don't shoot enough. I think they've scored 5 goals this year from outside the penalty area. I think one of those was Hector, and one off a set piece. But they don't get enough set pieces and free kicks around the 18. So there are things that, for those who watch the game, can identify. No question. And if the Dynamo were going to make a run in the playoffs, I think it's pretty hard to go through trying to win games 1-0 all the time. This is going to be a challenge tonight. New England feels like they have some life. It's a must-win game for them. So it'll be interesting. All right. Let's see. I think we'll take a break here. What do you think, Brian? Shoot the break here. Remember, the Dynamo New England have all that MLS Cup history in 2006 and 2007. The Dynamo winning both of those games. That seems like ancient times now. 2006 and 2007, way back to Robertson Stadium. All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back. Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5. Couple of things before we go to break here. Hugh O'Connor's Pub, great place to watch the game. If you want to get my local call tonight, you can, and we'll put something out. You can click on the local call on Apple TV and get my call if you want it. And I do want to remind you, Hugh O'Connor's Pub is a great place to watch, whether it's the Premier League, the UEFA Champions League, I-10 Marquee Entertainment Center out there, Danish Inspirations Modern Contemporary Furniture, the best in modern contemporary furniture, danishinspirations.com. This is Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, presented by the Daspit Law Firm. Caller number 4 right now, you get a pair of tickets to El Clasico. Chivas against Club America. Caller number 4. Chivas, Club America, a pair of tickets right now at 713-780-3776.
You're listening to Soccer Matters on ESPN 97.5.
And on ESPN 92.5.
Brought to you by the Daspit Law Firm. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Glenn Davis.
All right, don't forget Little Patagonia Empanadas and Cafe. We have it on Westheimer. It's also in Austin, Texas, in Q2 Stadium. The best in empanadas, my good friend Sebastian Abraham. You can also get the choripan sandwich there. In fact, it's right by our studio. It is Little Patagonia Empanadas and Cafe, the best empanadas. Painted black by the Rolling Stones as we welcome you back to Shell Energy Stadium. One of 13 matches here tonight. The Houston Dynamo getting set to take on the New England Revolution. Dynamo come in at 13-9-9, sixth place, 48 points. They will be keeping an eye tonight on the Colorado Rapids and Real Salt Lake results. They are also in action. Dynamo looking to try and get in the top four and get home field. New England Revolution, 9-17-4. As we mentioned in the first segment, 14th in the East, believe it or not. 6 points out of a playoff spot. When you're 14 out of 15 and you've lost 17 games, that is playoffs at MLS. And that's why in the beginning of the year, nobody gets too upset or worried about anything. You don't have to be because it is a big safety net as 18 out of 29 teams make the playoffs. That said, this is a good time of year in MLS. So Ben Olsen and the Houston Dynamo, hope you enjoyed that interview with Ben Olsen. We just, I lost my phone here at Shell Energy State. I hate to admit this, but I did. And we found it, and I'm afraid to tell you where it was found, but it was found, and my phone is back. We will take calls at 713-780-3776. All right, missing tonight on the Dynamo bench, you do not see one Hector Herrera. You do see Ezequiel Ponce. Dynamo started like this tonight. Steve Clark in goal. Franco Escobar, Daniel Steres, Eric Sviatchenko, and Mikhail will make their way in. So I'm thinking, like we have seen early in the year, Steres will be a straight swap for Griffin Dorsey, who's suspended. And I would say simply because instead of making two changes, you just make one at the back. Although Escobar would probably be a better option attacking. Good news is, though, Daniel Steres, who I ran into in a supermarket recently, and I won't mention the supermarket, but Daniel Steres has been excellent playing as an outside back, formerly a center back, really. And he's dangerous on free kicks and set pieces, corners and stuff. The midfield, that will be Coco and Artur. Deeper lying, you've got Amin Bassi. You have Sebastian Kowalczyk, Latif Blessing, and Aliou Ibrahim. So interesting to see how this is going to set up, if this is the false nine or if Aliou is going to play really as a number 9. That may be the way it goes. But, you know, if you're Sebastian Ferreira, you got to be upset you're not in the starting lineup. I mean, if you're not, I don't get it. Junior Moreno, by the way, has made the bench here tonight for the Houston Dynamo, the new signing. So Junior Moreno, knowing Ben Olsen and his knowledge of him when he had him as a player, Junior Moreno, you know, I wouldn't be surprised actually if he gets a game here tonight. Dynamo coming off a 1-0 loss at Seattle. They only had one shot on goal. That was in the second minute. They are 21 out of 29 in the league in goals scored. New England Revolution got a 1-0 win against Nashville. They broke a 5-game losing streak. If you remember, Bruce Arena was relieved of his duties. Caleb Porter is now the manager of the New England Revolution. So there you go. They will start with Aljaz Ivacic in goal. They will start with Dave Romney and Xavier Arriaga, an Ecuadorian. And those two will be the two center backs. Romney, the left center back. It'll be Brandon Bai and Peyton Miller. Now, Peyton Miller is a 16-year-old who will start at left back here tonight for the New England Revolution. Matt Polster, Al-Hassan Youssef will be the two holding midfielders. They will allow others to attack, including Carlos Hill, the playmaker. Bajraktovic will be one of the attackers. So Veroni won't get the start. Luca Langoni will also get a start. And how about this? Bobby Wood. Last time I saw him, he was on Real Salt Lake. So Bobby Wood, the 31-year-old who's played 45 times for the U.S. with 13 goals, will get the start. And Vrioni will not. So there you have that. Maybe a little bit of rotation there, thinking ahead. But this is a must-win game for the New England Revolution. Dynamo have clinched the playoff spot for the second straight year. Last 7 games, they've scored 8 goals. A little deceptive because they got 4 of them in one game against a very poor Real Salt Lake. But by the way, Dynamo put 4 goals on them that night, and they were 4 good goals. And you play what's in front of you. It was one of the most unmotivated RSLs I've ever seen. So they miss Hector Herrera tonight. They miss Griffin Dorsey. And all eyes are going to be on chance creation and scoring goals here tonight against New England. And I would expect New England maybe to sit a little bit deeper. All right, Mauricio Pochettino and the U.S. men's national team. He's picked his first roster. Apparently he's not talked to anybody but maybe one player, Anthony Robinson, who, by the way, is being looked at by a couple of big teams, including Liverpool. Ethan Horvath, Patrick Schulte, Zach Steffen gets called back in, and Matt Turner at Crystal Palace. So looks like Turner's the incumbent there right now. Defenders, Marlon Fossey from Standard Liège, who just got capped by the U.S. Christopher Lund, who has played with Palermo right now. He's a Dane. Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally, and Austin Trusty. I would say the U.S. has got real question marks around the center back position, especially with Tim Ream getting older. Midfield, Brendan Aronson, Leeds United, former Philadelphia Union. Gianluca Busio getting called back again, first time in a while. Venezia in Italy helped them gain promotion. Johnny Cardoso made a move to Real Betis in Spain. Weston McKennie at Juventus had a good game today in their victory in the Champions League. Aiden Morris, talented kid. Remember when Lucas Zelarayan left Columbus Crew and everyone was like, oh, what are they going to do? They acquired a good homegrown as a holding midfielder, Aiden Morris. Excellent. He's at Middlesbrough now. Yunus Musa, Milan, along with Christian Pulisic, and Malik Tillman, PSV Eindhoven. Valerin Balogun right now has scored a couple of goals recently for Monaco. Ricardo Pepi has scored some goals recently for PSV Eindhoven. Christian Pulisic has scored goals for Milan recently, including in the Milan derby. He's got 31 national team goals in 73 games. Do you notice something here? Josh Sargent had a couple of assists, Norwich City. Noticing anything? These guys are all playing well now. That's because I'm not saying this is the sole reason, but you might want to factor in the fact that they know there's a new manager watching them, a new national team manager. And that's the beauty of having someone of the stature of Mauricio Pochettino taking over the U.S. And he spoke today. We do have the soundbite. Brian, can we run that soundbite from Mauricio Pochettino today?
We are going to try to plan to play using 2 systems, 1-4-2-3-1 and 1-4-3-3, and from there to develop, our way to play, and see how we can adapt and how we can create the partnership in between them, to find the best way to create a very good way to play, very exciting going forward, being protagonists. That is in the way that we want to perform. It's in the way that we want to play. I think soccer need to be an exciting game for the USA citizen.
How about that? Soccer has to be exciting for the USA citizen. That's Pochettino. I mentioned 2 systems. We're going to try to play out of 2 systems. A 1-4-2-3-1 and a 1-4-3-3. So essentially the first system would have probably a double pivot, 2 holding midfielders, and then 4 attackers in front of them. And then, of course, you're getting your outside backs in. And then a 1-4-3-3. 2 wide guys probably, maybe a diamond out of that 3. You got to love it. I mean, he's saying you got to play attractive soccer. We're in the romance period. There's no question. Next Saturday, not this Saturday, a week from Saturday, October 12th, they play Panama at Q2 Stadium in Austin, Texas. I think I'm going to be there for that. I want to be able to say I was at Pochettino's debut. And also Panama will have Coco Carrasquilla. There's a Houston Dynamo part to that. Then they go to Guadalajara October 15th, and they will play in the Estadio Akron. And it'll be the U.S. against Mexico for the first time. First time for a friendly for the U.S. and Mexico since 2012. Mexico's got its problems, too, and I wish I had a little more time. We would have got into their roster. We'll get into them maybe next week. But they have their new coaching staff, too. Javier Aguirre, Bosco Aguirre, and Rafa Marquez. Rafa Marquez Colon, I remember. When I went to Mexico City. My ex-wife was from Mexico City. And I remember going in a drugstore, and I joked around and put like 15 bottles of it in my bag and went to the cash register as a joke. No, I did not buy it, and no, I never wore it. You, too, can smell like Rafa. So that's good. Pochettino, October 12th, Panama, Austin, Texas, Q2 Stadium. By the way, inside Q2 Stadium, you have the best empanadas. Little Patagonia Empanadas and Cafe there. They also sell the choripan sandwich there. I've heard from a lot of Austin FC fans who have tried these empanadas. They love them. They're light. They're not heavy on batter. They have a lot on the, there's a lot in the guts of those empanadas. All right, Justin Finger is going to give us a list of some of the games here tonight. Focus in on a couple of the key ones for the Dynamo, Justin.
So like you had said earlier, the Colorado-LA Galaxy match is probably one of the ones to watch the most. With a win tonight, and if Colorado loses, the Dynamo will jump into fourth place in the West.
Big incentive.
It is. And then also keep an eye out on RSL versus Minnesota tonight. If RSL loses, Dynamo win, it will be 1 point behind RSL in third place. With 2 matches remaining for the Dynamo, so one of them being a home game. So there's that one. We do have some live scores if you want me to go through them right now.
Do it.
We got Atlanta United, Montreal. It's 0-0 right now in the 8th minute. Charlotte is up 1-0 over Chicago in the 10th minute. NYCFC, Cincinnati is 0-0 right now in the 11th. Orlando, Philadelphia 0-0, and Toronto and New York Red Bulls are also 0-0. We have a good matchup tonight with Inter Miami and Columbus. It's going to be a good one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Inter Miami wants that one. They're in the pole position for the Supporter Shield, and of course the Columbus Crew. You got to say, maybe the best body of work in the last couple of years. I think hands down. It was a shame they lost in the Campeones Cup final to Club America. By the way, Club America and Chivas are coming here October 13th. Club America Chivas, right here in Houston, Texas. And that'll be at Energy Park. There's over 50,000 sold for that already. That may be more than that now. I'm going to give at the end of this show a pair of those away at 713-780-3776. So be ready. Be ready. Okay, Justin, what else you got?
I got 3 more. LAFC, St. Louis City, Portland, Austin FC. That's 9:30. San Jose and FC Dallas.
You made your debut just now on Soccer Matters ESPN 97.5. Did you ever call in back in the day when I didn't know you?
I think I had called in once or twice.
Okay.
Back in my.
Well, then maybe it's not your debut; it's your third cap. What's your debut? Your debut actually here. So Justin's here with me. We're going to switch over to Apple TV and call the Dynamo game tonight against New England. We're anticipating it.
The instructions for that, guys. I will try to also get it out on the Soccer Matters Twitter right after this. If you go to the lower right-hand side of the screen, there'll be an alternative audio option button. Click on that button. You should have an option that says local radio call. It'll be Dynamo because it is the home match or home team. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you want to hear my call, fine. If you don't want to hear my call, you listen to the other guys. That's fine too. I think tuning into the game is the most important thing. We don't get a lot of numbers from Apple, which That might tell you something because you do get a lot of numbers when Caitlin Clark plays. Over 2 million people watching her game at times. So, yeah, I wish she was here tonight to kick the ball off. We'd have a full house. It's a tough night for soccer here, and Dynamo are still trying to improve their relevancy here in Houston. Just seems kind of the same old story. It's a shame because it's a team that's in the playoffs again. But the big question tonight, and I'm going to put it out here again, it's a very fair question. Can this team get better in attack? Can they score more goals? Or are they going to try to run through the playoffs, winning games 1-0? That's not an easy thing to do. Now, to be fair to them, they're in every game. They are in every game, but they are also playing fairly cautious football, to be honest with you. It's a very narrow system. There's not a lot of transition. They don't want to break in transition a lot, which I think if they could find a transition game would complement the possession game well. And I'm not saying go crazy with it, but if you could be a threat more vertically when teams are overcommitted and you're half of the field and you win the ball, it's a great option and a great threat to have. Hopefully it could happen tonight. Also, love to see more guys taking people on off the dribble. But that also comes with transition play, and that's the reason why the Dynamo, believe it or not, this year have only 8 shots on free kicks. 8 shots off of free kicks. It means you're not earning enough free kicks. 43 goals for, 34 against, 5-3-7 at home. So out of 15 games at home, the Dynamo have won 5. They've only lost 3, but they've drawn 7. And boy, they would love to have 6 more points out of those 7 they've drawn because they would be 1 or 2 in the Western Conference. So would be a nice thing. So we're coming up here in, I don't know, about 30, 40 minutes. We'll kick right now coming out of the tunnel here at Shell Energy Stadium is the Houston Dynamo, and they make their way out. Hey, LamontBrands.com. Get your Soccer Matters T-shirts and hats. We got a nice visit tonight from Herman, who's in studio here with me tonight. Herman, real quick, put the headset on. Give me a take on what's most important for you to see tonight here for the Houston Dynamo against New England.
You touched on it, Glenn. Improve the Western Conference standing position by the end of the night. Get 3 points.
Go to 4th place. We look at those other results.
That's it.
All right. I just got the warning. We got 30 seconds, Herman. Thank you for coming up to the booth here tonight and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
All right. That's Herman. Great guy. Came into the booth here. He's a bigger hero than you know right now. He's a good man. All right. That's going to wrap it up here from Shell Energy Stadium. I'm Glenn Davis. LamontBrands.com for your T-shirts and hats. 501c Charity Snowdrop Foundation. Big thank you to Brian McDonald back in studio. And as always out here at Stadium, the ever-present, he is like Alice Cooper when it comes to legends in the way he handles getting me on and off the air, the one and only David Obert. Go over to Apple, catch the Dynamo New England Revolution.